Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the fridge. I apologise for my recent lack of uploads, but between school holidays and being quite sick with the flu, I didn't have the time or the energy to put together anything of a decent quality. I am here now though, so what's on the menu for tonight? World of Tanks, test server. I thought we should take a look at the upcoming Polish tech tree, as well as some of the other things that are getting tweaked with the upcoming patch. Tonight we'll be taking a look at the newest tier 10 tank coming to the game, the 60TP. As we all know, each nation has a particular flavour to them. The French has its fast moving autoloaders, the British has solid penetration and DPM, while the Russians are blessed by the RNG gods. Poland has a very interesting quirk to them. They get Alpha Strike. While it isn't so obvious in the lower tiers, you will very much notice it when you get a tier 9 tank armed with a copy of the 130mm IS-7 gun, or the tier 10 armed with a 152mm cannon. Yes, that's right, the tier 10 is armed with a 6-inch gun. So let's take a look at what makes Poland stand out from the crowd. Actually, before we get to this, I do need to say that I found it difficult to find tanks to compare the new Polish tanks against. Due to the nature of the tank and the firepower, I found myself stacking the 60TP up against tanks that matched it on paper in one or more attributes. As such, she's getting matched up against the following tanks: the IS-4, the IS-7 and the Object 705A from Russia, which seems to be a heavy influence on Polish tank design. Both the German super heavies are here, as is the Japanese Type 5. The T110E5 is here alongside the WZ1115A. I will also remind everyone of two things. One, all numbers that I use are for unfitted tanks with a 100% crew, and two, this information is from the test server, so it is therefore subject to change. Enough faffing about. Let's take a look at the 60TP. Starting with the firepower, we find a 152mm gun with a massive 750 Alpha Strike. Penetration is reasonably average with 250mm, putting it on par with the IS-7 or the 5A. Reload time is slow, taking 18.7 seconds to get the next round loaded, which is better than the E100 or Type 5. In fact, it is quick enough to get you just over 2400 DPM, which is reasonably good for a heavy tank. Dispersion is decent enough as well at 0.36. Aim time, however, is poor at 2.88, putting it behind everything that I looked at. Depression is decent with 8 degrees down and 20 up. Turret traverse is 25 degrees per second, which is good without being outstanding. Survivability is good, but also very poor at the same time. You do get 2600 hit points, which is nice. You get 160mm of frontal hull armour, most of which is nicely sloped. 100mm on the sides and 90 on the rear of the hull round things out. The turret is like a walnut, she's tough to crack. 260mm on the front, has very few flat points and is generally quite well shaped. You also get a stout 150mm on the sides and 100mm on the rear. The problem comes when you look at the actual armour layout. The hull has a few points that any decent player will take one look at and stick around right through. The driver has a little raised section which reduces the effective armour. There is also a section under the gun which does look a lot like a turret ring. And the third point is very similar, although smaller, to the Panzer 7 or VK7201. This is where the turret bulges out over the sides of the tank, forcing the armour to become almost vertical. Mobility is not really something the 60TP does well either. With 780 horsepower and just over 60 tonne of tank, the top speed is a rather low 35 km an hour forwards and 14 in reverse. Hull traverse rate is low, but still respectable at 25 degrees per second. The power to weight ratio is similar to the IS-4, but the 60TP struggles to climb even the most gentle of slopes. Concealment and view range are alright, but not good, which is fine because it's a heavy tank. You shouldn't really be worried about these factors. So how does one use this tank? Well, it is a brawler, and a decent tank to play the peek-a-boom game with. Trading shots with someone that is only taking 500 hit points from you while you're taking 750 from them is a game that you're going to win every single day. Get her hull down and play to your turret. But do be aware of things above you. The top armour is quite thin, and taller tanks such as the Mouse may simply be able to shoot straight down through the top of your turret. You're not mobile, so avoid the hill climbs, but you do have enough turret and hull traverse to deal with those pesky mediums trying to get around the side of you. Personally, I don't think this tank's going to see widespread use in clan wars, although having said that, I do see some situations where having one or two of these things would come in handy. Personally, I intend on grinding this one out, as I really did enjoy playing it on the test server, even though my time there was limited. Thanks for joining me in the fridge. Be sure to like and subscribe, and hit that little bell icon if you want to be notified about new videos I post, such as an upcoming video on the Tier 8 Polish Premium tank. Check links in the video description to my Patreon page if you'd like to support the work I do, or join my Discord server when you can be notified about my live streams. Thanks again for joining me in the fridge. I'll see you again soon.